Hi everybody. Not sure if you can see me here. Hi. So I'm going to put you down here so you can actually see what I'm cooking. And what we're doing today is we are doing I don't know if you can see it here. It's boiling away. Carrot. Whoops. Wow. The pot's moving around on the stove all by itself. Wow, magic. So I did some carrots here, as you can see, just so that I didn't waste your time. And of course, the smaller that you cut them, the faster they cook. So I'm just going to set these here to cool down, because what we're going to do here is saute a little bit of, I always like to put a little bit of water in first, and make sure that your pan is warm, hot. And I'm really quite enjoying using my wok for all of my, instead of a frying pan, because I think you guys can see it better. So I'm going to cut up an onion. And what we're making today is, we are making, I'm just going to cut this in half. We're making a lentil ginger carrot soup. How's that sound? So what we're going to do is, I've got my little compost here. It's always so handy to have a compost right beside your stove, so you can easily put all your little bits in there. And just cut up your onion. It doesn't really matter. Like often I will cut my onion in little tiny bits. But in this case, we're going to be blending the soup, and I don't think I want too much onion, so I'm just going to set this one aside and just use this much onion. Seem to be a little bit more disorganized this morning, maybe because I missed you guys over the weekend, and I'm out of practice. Anyway, so just going to saute these onion chunks, and it's just water in here right now just to get them going, and while I do the garlic. So we're going to do the lentils, and I cook the lentils here, so they take about 15 minutes, so I didn't want to bore you with that. So these are the red lentils. Red lentils cook faster. And I've been studying Mr. Dr. Greger, Michael Greger, and he wrote the How Not to Die books. And he says, oh yeah, he wrote this last one, the How Not to Diet. That's what it's called. And he did that one, and that one was full of studies on different foods and how they work with weight loss, which is super awesome. And he says, in the studies made, that lentils, of all legumes, I'll shut that off, lentils will last for like 4 hours longer than perhaps kidney beans or any other kind of beans or grains. And so the lentils last longer to keep you satisfied, so that when you eat, if you were to eat 4 hours later, after having eaten lentils, you'll crave less food. And so people that eat lentils tend to lose weight more. So he also says that, that's probably enough garlic. He also says that that people who I'm just trying to think about that that eat ginger. If you eat ginger, we're going to add ginger to it. Ginger powder, I have it here. If you eat half a teaspoon of ginger per day, then you lose 10% body fat. Isn't that fascinating? Huh? I think that's fascinating. I don't know that many people that eat that much ginger. I really, really like ginger, so so I probably do eat that much. So I'm just going to wait for this to cook down a little. I don't know if you can see it. It's just For anybody that's just joined us, it's just have a little onion skin in there. It's just onions and garlic right now. And I've already pre-cooked my carrots and my lentils. And I'm going to put all this in Vitamix so that it's a carrot lentil ginger soup. Now, these carrots are quite hot still. And I know the Vitamix can handle a lot. But I wonder if these are just a little too hot. Maybe not. I was thinking of adding some cold water to them. Okay, so the onions are pretty much cooked here. What I might do is just that one piece that needs a little bit more. So onions, in case you didn't know, there you go. I just want them a little translucent so that they're better in the soup. I don't want it overpowered with onions. Onions are anti-inflammatory. Did you know that? They're very anti-inflammatory. They're really good for allergies. If you have a bee sting, you probably already know this, but if you have a bee sting, you can put a raw onion on it, and it will usually take the swelling down because it has antihistamine properties in it. Okay, I think those are pretty done. So we're just going to blend this together, and my Vitamix is so old. Okay, I'm just wondering if these are too hot. I'm going to run a little bit of cold water through them. I wanted to save the juice, but I might have jumped the gun on, there we go. I might have jumped the gun on cooking them. Or what I might do is just add them without the juice. Okay, so my Vitamix is ancient. I've been trying to kill it for about 10 years. And I'm telling you, the thing just won't die. It's one of these ones that just has high and low. That's it. There's no fancy up and down on the speeds or anything like that, which is an option. That's the word I'm looking for. An option like the ones that they sell now that are really fancy. And oops, carrot for the dog. She loves cooked vegetables. Yeah, so I just haven't been able to justify getting a new Vitamix until this one breaks down, and it's been, I'll bet you I've had this thing for 10 years at least, probably 12. And I've Vitamixed a lot of stuff and made it really pushed its limits for sure. And it's still hanging in there. Doesn't want to die. So we have that. We're going to add the lentils. Oh, lentils are still pretty hot too. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit of cold water just so I don't want to ruin my Vitamix right in front of you guys. Like I know I push it a lot, but I'm sure there's a limit. So we'll add the lentils with cold water. Although when you use a Vitamix, you know, it's advertised as making soup. And so you can take a raw soup or a raw, you know, vegetables of any kind and put them in the Vitamix. Like often what they'll say is like raw broccoli or something like that. And I've made raw broccoli with the Vitamix too. Try to have enough room here. I've got so many, my cupboards are right in the way of my picture working area. We're just scraping these onions out. So anyway, you could take like raw cauliflower, which I've done, and put it in the Vitamix, or any other kind of vegetable, broccoli, whatever, and put it in the Vitamix, and if you leave it on long enough, it will heat it up and it will make a hot soup. Like not super hot, but some of them even have a heating element now. I mean, they're pretty fancy. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this. Oh, thank you. Hi, Carly. It's carrots, yes. So what we're doing now, for the people that just joined in, I did pre-cook some carrots, And the thinner you slice them, the faster they cook. And then I pre-cooked lentils. And then I just now sauteed some onions and garlic. And we're making a, oh look, you can see it here. You were making a lentil ginger carrot soup. Oh my gosh, I can't think and talk at the same time. Okay, so we're going to run this through the Vitamix. We're going to add a little bit of water. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but probably best if you don't see it, because I'm telling you, this Vitamix is so old. It just shoots the, it's got like high on or nothing. And it just shoots the food right out of the top, which is why I hesitate to use it on my cooking videos. And I will usually use the magic bullet if I can, because it's a lot less dangerous for shooting food all over the ceiling. So we always put a little cover over it to make sure we aren't hitting the ceiling. And okay, hang on. Okay, we probably don't need much because I don't mind if there are chunks in it. And so we're going to bring back the onion saute pan, and we're just going to pour that in just so you can see it. It's a lot easier for you guys to see it when it's in this pan. So yeah, so this is going to put the heat back on this. Now, that's the other problem with the Vitamix. I'm sure you can see what's going on here. It puts all kinds of air in it, so you kind of have to heat it up and get all the bubbles out. So far, this is just carrots, red lentils, onions, and garlic. And we're going to add some ginger. And, whoop, we're boiling. We're boiling and it's spitting up. What I think I will use is a bamboo spoon. I think that's going to be better than the spatula. There we go. So I'm just going to put this on a little lower so it doesn't splatter. Okay, I'm going to add a teaspoon. Actually, I'm going to, because I really like ginger, I'm going to add a tablespoon, heaping tablespoon of ginger. Well, that spits around. And yeah, I like it really gingery. So this is the ginger carrot lentil soup, and then we're going to add I buy my salt in bulk. That's too much. There we go. So yeah, so we're just going to put a little bit of Himalayan sea salt in it. Going to put a little bit of black pepper in it. And I always love adding some cayenne and ginger. Wow, that's going to be spicy. That's okay. I love the spice. Okay, so of course you're going to make this to taste. If you like lots of spice, then you know, you can add this much, and if you don't, you don't have to add this much. So once this starts cooking down more, I don't know if I should move it on this burner or that burner, but actually the way it's bubbling, I'll just go back and forth because it's getting too hot. So I do have some coconut milk too. Now the coconut milk is really awesome because it adds such a great flavor to everything, but I don't want to add the whole thing. I'm not going to add the whole can of coconut milk because I don't want it to overpower the ginger flavor. But you can buy the canned coconut milk, and when you open it, it's got the coconut juice too. But like I say, I don't want it too coconutty. I just want it to, it's kind of like, you know, when you have the Indian dishes, they usually put like a yogurt or a cream in it or something, just to sort of mellow out the spices. And so I do like adding a little bit of coconut milk to it for that reason. And then of course it's dairy free, so it's got no dairy in it. Okay, can you see that okay? Would there be much of a difference using canned lentils? I didn't even know they had canned lentils. I don't see why it would make any difference. You know, you wouldn't have to cook them. Yeah, that would be easy, I guess. I've just never heard of canned lentils, but I don't see why that wouldn't work. That's awesome. I was that reminds me of my super simple recipe of making tomato basil soup with V8 juice. And when you're in a hurry and you happen to have V8 juice, you just heat up the V8 juice and add some spices. And you know, you can, what I have added is nutritional yeast and other things to it, so it doesn't taste like just hot V8 juice. But boy, that makes a really good tomato basil soup, adding basil, of course. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We're just going to let this, I'm going to turn it up a little bit just to see the, you can tell that the bubbles are going away, and it's got a nice consistency too, which is really awesome. So another couple little facts about the ginger. For the ginger, of course, ginger is good for anti-nausea, right? It's known for nausea. It's also anti-inflammatory. It reduces cholesterol, and then of course we've got the garlic. We could add more garlic. I always like to add a lot of garlic. I put the garlic cloves in, but I'm going to add a little bit of powder. And I am honestly a terrible person for not tasting when I cook. So I just kind of keep adding, and then right before I serve, then I taste it again. Anyways, yes, so your garlic, super important. Garlic's good for blood pressure, and if you were to take garlic in a capsule, or a half a teaspoon of the powder a day, it does help to reduce your blood pressure, and it acts as anti-inflammatory. So your garlic's super, super important. And okay, so there's a question about the beans from scratch. We did a really good and very funny video last week, I think it was, on using beans from scratch, and I showed all different kinds of beans and peas and kidney beans, pinto beans, and then grains and rice and stuff. And so the most important thing with the beans is to soak and rinse and soak and rinse. And you want to soak and rinse if you can every 4 hours the first day. So put them in water, let them soak, and then 4 hours later rinse them. And then if you can, before you go to bed, rinse them again. You know, you don't ever want to cook them on the same day. And the reason for that, and then you'd rinse them, and then the next day you would rinse them again, and then you would cook them. And the reason for that is because the beans have lectins, raw beans, a lot of raw grains and beans. And anyway, you'll have to watch the video because I can't explain it all right now. But the lectins are the ones that cause the gas and the bloating, and it inhibits the digestion, which makes it harder for you to digest. So the important thing to remove the lectins, L-E-C-T-I-N-S, is to rinse your beans and drain them and rinse them and drain them and rinse them and drain them, and then cook them the next day, and then that removes the lectins. So pretty easy to do, super cheap. You can buy your beans in bulk. I've bought mine in like 25-pound bags at Healthy Habits. I've bought beans and peas and barley through Wayne Smith at Vancouver Island Grain and Milling, and it's so much cheaper, and then you don't have to worry about the beans in the cans for the BPAs, you know, for people that are concerned about that. And so you can, you know, especially right now when people aren't supposed to be going out and shopping a lot, to get like even you can buy a 2-pound bag of beans or a 10-pound bag of beans. It lasts a really long time, and same with your rice and your grains, I mean, not greens. And so a bag of rice and a bag of beans goes a really long way. That is smelling amazing. I can really smell the garlic now, and the Ginger is super awesome. So, yeah, for sure. I would definitely, I did do the video on the grains and the beans, and it was very funny, very long and extensive. And so maybe I will break it down to maybe just a bean and pea day or a legume day, and then do a different one with the grains. So thank you for that. I really appreciate the questions and all the different things that people want to learn and want me to share. And yeah, so we're going to do that. We're going to do some herbs tomorrow. I've been sharing different medicinal qualities of herbs in the kitchen that you can use so that you have your own remedies, and you can easily make them from whatever's in your cupboard. So we'll be sharing some things like that. We've had some questions about what you can use, like if you had a headache or a migraine. Kind of interesting, but if you drink peppermint tea, it's really helpful for headaches and migraines. But at the same time, if you take some cayenne powder in a little bit of warm water, and you do that first, that opens up the blood vessels to the brain, because the cayenne is an up herb. It really brings it up, and so it opens up the blood vessels and reduces the constriction that's causing the headache or the migraine. So, oh, the other thing I was going to show you guys, this is super cool. I know it's funny. It's super funny, but it's also cool. So this morning we had oatmeal from scratch from Wayne's Milling. And when you have just that little bit of oatmeal that nobody ever seems to finish, and you don't want to throw it away or waste things, especially right now, you can just add it to your soup. And you know what? You don't even notice it. Like, honestly, I've been adding leftover oatmeal and maybe sometimes we have rice cereal to the soups, and nobody knows it's there. And it's so you saved money. You've added, like in the case of this, I didn't need extra thickening, but if you need extra thickening in whatever other soup you're making or stew or whatever, you don't even notice the oatmeal, and you've got extra fiber, you've got extra vitamins, and you've saved money. So there you go. There's your funny little hint for the day. And I know it sounds really bizarre, but you know, you'll never taste it. Okay, so it's bubbling away. It smells amazing. I wish you guys could smell it. And so I will probably head out to the yard, and I might do a couple of videos on wild plants. And because it's such a beautiful springtime, there's so many wild plants out there that I'm wanting to share with everybody. So just check it out and stay tuned. And I'm going to try and show this just a little bit better. If I can lift and stir at the same time, is that possible? Without spilling it? Yeah, really good. Okay, thanks for joining, you guys. And we'll talk to you tomorrow at 11 with the rest of the information or whatever people have asked for me to share. So, okay, so we'll see you tomorrow, and have a great day.